Welcome to Voices from the Bench, a dental laboratory podcast. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com or look for us on Facebook at Voices from the Bench. Greetings and welcome to Voices from the Bench. My name is Elvis.
Mr. Popular, who I love, my name is Barbara.
Happy Memorial Day, everybody. I hope you're not working today.
I'm not working today, actually, at all.
Yeah.
I went for a run, though.
Nice. We've had terrible weather here, so not much running going on.
In Chicago?
I'm not in Chicago. God.
I'm sorry, y'all. I know he doesn't live in Chicago. It's a running joke.
Oh. And it's so funny, too.
Where do you live?
Indiana.
Woo-hoo! Okay, roll on.
So this is the last episode in the month of May. Next month is June, and I don't know if anybody knows this, but next month is Dental Technician and CDT Appreciation Month.
Let's go. Woo-woo! I got to interrupt you. Let's freaking go. Yeah, baby. That's what we do. That's who we are. That's awesome. Let's do it. Let's celebrate.
Yes, we here at Voices from the Bench want to help celebrate. So if you have a technician you want to thank, let us know. You can record yourself thanking them on your phone and email us the file, and we will play it on the podcast in the month of June. Or you can just email us who you want to show appreciation for, and we'll read it on the podcast. Make sure you not only give a name, but the name of the lab they work at or own, and also the city and state, or country if it applies. Send them all to info@voicesfromthebench.com.
Please send them. Elvis loves reading the emails, and we want to put them all over the place. So come on, guys.
I hope we have so many submissions, we have to do a whole bonus episode to fit them all in. Wouldn't that be great?
Yes, that would be great. Not only would it be great, it would be amazing.
It would be amazing. We should totally, side note, I think Father's Day is a couple weeks. We should interview your dad real quick. Or have him on as just like a guest host. He doesn't have to do a whole interview. Wouldn't that be fun?
Actually, that would be fun because I still have him dye trim, and he's, 77. Still dye trims, comes to the lab. Everybody loves him, and he loves to dye trim still. So after all these years, he's still a fan of dental technology, which I appreciate.
I hope when I'm 77, my hands and mind is sharp enough that I could dye trim. I can't even do it now, but I hope I can do it when I'm 77.
You will. I can tell. You're a runner. You're an athlete. You'll still be doing it. Actually, I can teach you how to dye trim, but I don't know how. So I'll ask my dad.
There you go. So this week, we wrap up the many interviews we did at LMT Lab Day Chicago 2019. We start off with talking with our neighbor from the exhibit hall, Mr. Jimmy Ruiz from Aurident. It's known for their alloy. They're getting heavily into CAD/CAM, and Jimmy tells us about his role and what they do at Lab Day. Then we talked to a voiceover professional, Jonathan Thompson.
He was awesome, by the way.
From Open Source. Or I should say his name like this, Jonathan Thompson.
Yeah, he actually told us how to do our interviews a little bit smarter, so we liked him. He was cool.
We talk with him on how a lab can use open source to simplify and streamline their lab's CAD/CAM software. And then we finish up the LMT Lab Day Chicago, talking with a big supporter of the podcast. All the way from Oregon, Carrie and Corinthia Warner. They are a mother and daughter.
Warner?
Yeah.
W-A-R-N-E-R?
Yes.
Hello there, ladies. That was my maiden name. That's my dad's name. I love Warner. And that was when I was gone, so I missed it.
Yeah.
Sorry, but it was amazing.
Yeah, you were headed to the airport because it was a busy weekend.
Mm-hmm.
They are a mother and daughter lab, which is awesome. But Carrie is also the executive director of the Oregon Association of Dental Laboratories, OADL. So we talked to those two about their lab and running a state association.
And we're still doing LMT Day. Sorry, guys, but we had so many awesome interviews. And Elvis has been amazing putting this all together. So we got a lot of content. We have a lot of great interviews. So enjoy.
Preet is more than the company which provides you with the largest attachment selection in North America, such as locators, O-rings, and hater clips. Preet is more than a company who provides you with analogs, UCLAs, tie bases, and multi-unit parts for over 25 different implant manufacturers. Preet is the company who passionately supports dental technicians and dental technology. Preet provides 60 hours of non-commercial continuing education each year. They're also an NADL sponsor and supporter, Foundation of Dental Technology sponsor, as well as an annual supporter for the majority of the local state dental technician associations. And that's just the start. Preet is honored that technicians trust them as their one-stop shop for their laboratories. In fact, during the month of May, the next time you place an order online or call the awesome team at Preet, use the promo code VOICES, and you not only will receive 5% off your order, but Preet will contribute 1% of all promo sales to the Foundation of Dental Technology. Appreciate your support, Preet. Voices from the Bench. The interview.
So we are here at Lab Day Chicago 2019 with Aurident Jimmy
Ruiz.
Ruiz.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, what does your company do?
So we started about 44 years ago as an alloy manufacturer, you know, when alloy was king. And when CAD-CAM started, you know, picking up in, the late 2000s.
Yeah,
You know, we started transitioning into CAD-CAM as well, and we started selling zirconia, started selling CAD-CAM products. So become more of a supply company than just alloy manufacturer, just so we can continue being part of this great industry.
How much is alloy a part of your company now?
Oh, it's still very much like
Is it?
80%. Yeah, you'll
Wow.
be surprised how many
80%.
labs.
Wow.
You'll be
That's
surprised. Some of the biggest laboratories in the country still buy alloy from us, which is amazing to me. Because
Which is good.
Yeah, without saying any names, I mean, the amount of alloy that they buy, considering how much ceramic material they use, it's surprising to me how much they buy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Good for you guys.
we're still in business, and we're still part, you know, we're trying to transition into more CAD-CAM materials, so we're happy about that.
So a show like this, do you do a pretty good sell?
Yeah, this is our best one. I mean, we do Lab Day West as well, and a few other small regional ones, but Lab Day Chicago is definitely the biggest one for us.
It is the big thing. Are you guys launching anything this weekend?
We
or?
started promoting PMMA. That's a product that we haven't sold in a while, as well as a furnace that we are a reseller of Naperthum from Germany.
Okay.
So we are highlighting that, but as well as our scanner is doing so well that we did a great price cut on that and offer $500 off of it. And it's already a low price scanner. I mean, we're selling it for $65.99.
What is the name of your scanner?
It's Shining 3D.
Shining 3D.
Yeah, it's a Chinese manufacturer. They've been doing CAD-CAM for well over 10 years, but more on the industrial side. Dental is just about 30% of their business.
Really?
Yeah.
What were they mostly used for?
Like large machine parts.
Okay.
They print metal
Yeah.
and whatnot. They sell scanners and 3D printers.
Wow.
Interesting.
Cool. Awesome. And you're also bilingual, he says?
I am. I speak Spanish and English.
So do you meet a lot of foreigners coming here to this meeting?
A lot.
I heard.
This year, for some reason, there's a lot of foreigners.
Wow.
You know, it reminds me of Greater New York. Like, Greater New York, I see a lot of foreigners. I start seeing a lot here, too.
So it's got to be a benefit for you to be able to talk to them and sell
is.
to them, or for your company, I should
It
say.
is. And we have a Korean rep as well.
Wow.
So that also gives us a little bit of an edge because he starts greeting them in Korean. And, you know, when it comes to different languages, there's some commonality that it gives us more of a trust.
Absolutely.
when you speak
Yes,
the
I would
language.
totally agree.
Absolutely.
Totally agree.
So how did you get into this business? What did you do before?
Well, I started dental in 2006 with Kerr.
Oh, okay,
I
yeah.
remember Kerr.
Yeah, before
Yeah.
Cable Kerr, right?
Yep.
So I used to work for Kerr. I was there for 6 years, and then I transitioned over to Glidewell. I was the sales manager for Glidewell Direct for 4 years.
Yeah.
And then
Bet you learned a lot.
it's a great school. It's a great organization.
Oh, wow.
You know, and just the story itself with Jim, you know, hearing it from himself, not just, you know, hearsay, but
Yeah,
from
yeah.
him, it's very inspiring. You know, it makes you believe that you can do anything.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I went to Glidewell 3 months ago, I think, and I was just completely blown away. Completely blown away.
You could go to Glidewell every year, and you'll see something different every single time because it continues to grow. They invest so much into the R&D that it's, you know, it's market leader for a reason.
He stays so ahead of the curve.
Absolutely.
Makes your head spin. So that's good. Good to know.
Like I was saying earlier, I heard so much about your podcast. You know,
How did you hear about it? So you just kind of like walk by and
well,
we're growing. We feel like we're growing. This has been
Yes.
a good meeting for us. We feel the support from the industry, and it's just been really cool. So it's nice to hear you say.
It is a lot of hearsay. The gentleman that said that he did it in 6 days, he talked to me about it too.
Really?
You know, and
cool.
he mentioned a fireball.
That would be me,
Yeah.
folks.
That's going to be our new tagline.
I'm just saying, I get bleeped and I drink Fireball. Not right now, though, so I'm behaving.
So my goal is to match his. I have a like a 5-hour flight back to California. I'm gonna download it on my phone and trying to catch up and hear about it.
Let our voice soothe you to sleep
Yeah.
on the plane.
I think what you'll find, and I think we're most proud of this, Elvis and I, is that when we first started out, it was grassroots, so neither of us knew what the hell we were doing. I didn't even listen to podcasts. He's the genius behind it. But I really think that we're getting better, and we're gelling, and the conversations are flowing, and we're just, because we're enjoying it, and we enjoy our audience and our guests. I think what you'll find is get past episode 5 or 6, and then you'll be like, okay, all right, we're good now. So not that I'm being negative, but I think we're getting better, and then you should get better. You know?
First few were very scripted for a reason.
Yeah.
But we got over that hump.
Now we're getting better, so thank you.
One of the things that I do think about when I think of sales is that sometimes customers don't know what they need yet. And I think that that's the same for your podcast. I think that that's something that we didn't know we needed until it's there.
Yeah.
You know, because when I saw it, I was like, it makes sense. It makes sense. And why? Because if you're on the bench, you just put your headphones on and work away and listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
And I hear that it's not as technical as you might think. It's very broad in we have
a lot of different people that contact us, a lot of different people that we contact. Sometimes it's a little political because we sit on the NADL board, but we enjoy, getting different messages out for people to, see things differently. And
the networking is amazing.
For us. Yeah.
Like, you'll be played, and someone will know you, will contact us. And that's just how it spider webs out to this amazing industry that there's so many aspects we can have on and learn so many different things. And I've met so many wonderful people. It's just amazing.
Absolutely.
We talked to somebody from France today.
Really?
So we may travel to France.
Yeah.
We've got the University of New York. We talked to a student, and we are probably going to take a trip there and talk to the students. And once we get a few more sponsors under our belt, I think we'll take it on the road because we're really enjoying being at this meeting and being face-to-face.
Absolutely.
Because most of the time we're on the phone. We do it on Fridays. We don't see our guests.
I sit in the basement.
With the eye contact and the body language, this is just really fun for me. And I know for Elvis because he's,
It's like sitting in the living room and just having a discussion.
Yeah, it really
I
is,
tried to get couches, but they couldn't. Ottomans, I wanted the whole deal.
But LMT put us in a prime spot. They were so good to us. They gave us the spot, and we're going to use it to the best of our ability. So we're really happy you asked to come over. I saw you guys yesterday, and I was like, I'm going to ask them to see if they want to be interviewed.
Yeah,
so
you're our
I'm happy
neighbor.
that you
We should
were.
mention that.
Yeah.
This is our first booth, and we have a neighbor.
Yes.
We've been here for quite a few years, prime spot. So we're very fortunate and grateful to LMT for reserving that spot for us.
Yeah.
So we are too,
awesome.
except for this right here. That's the only thing. But, I can see this side. I can see this side. It's a perfect spot. So
Absolutely.
We have a beam.
we have a beam, a laser beam. Well, it was good to have you. Anything
thank
else
you
you'd
so
like
much,
to say?
Jimmy.
No, just
or
thank you
wrap
so
up?
much
And-
for having me, and I'll be sure to tune in.
Well,
Yeah,
good luck at the
appreciate
meeting.
that.
I hope
Thank
you
you.
guys sell
Likewise.
a lot of alloy and everything else. It was
Thank you.
good talking to
We're
you.
more than just an allo company now. So
Yeah,
thank you.
PMMA.
PMMA, Zirconia, and
Zirconia.
CAD-CAM.
All right, cool.
That's
Well,
awesome.
there you go.
Thank you so
Aurident.
much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it, Jimmy. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Have a good day.
You too.
So we had a gentleman by the name of Jonathan Thompson come up to me and say, I'm a professional voiceover artist. And I said to myself, wait a minute, where am I? A dental laboratory conference?
Indeed, yes.
What the heck are you doing here?
I actually do WorkNC Dental CAM software support for the United States. So that's how I got my foot in the door. But people have been telling me for about 10 years, oh, you got a great voice, you need to be on the radio, you know. But for so long, I was thinking disc jockey. I wasn't thinking do the ads, you know. So it finally came to a head about a year ago, and I've been doing it for a year professionally.
You do have a sexy voice.
Oh, well,
kind of mirrors mine, I think. It's a little lower.
I mean, you know, Barbara, we can take this interview.
We can do this, right?
Do you guys want me to leave?
No.
Please don't. I need an adult.
Oh, that's awesome.
So have you done any famous like commercials or ads or
I've done some stuff. I've done some work with National Geographic.
Really?
Yeah, nothing that there was a complication with the script, so it didn't get aired. Somebody didn't run it by their boss.
Yeah.
But,
you still got paid,
awesome.
though, right?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
then
that's
you
what's
go.
important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then I could say I work with National Geographic, and who can say that?
Not a whole lot of people.
No, I recently did a job with St. Paul Public Library. You can find that on YouTube. So they have a new campaign of just trying to be about inclusion and learning. And a lot of people. I spent a lot of time at the library as a kid. I was homeschooled, and the library was free.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So when you grew up, not in the upper middle class like myself, we spent a lot of time at the library.
Sure.
And back in those days, you had to wait for the VHS to be out for a year and a half before you could get it into the library for free.
Yep.
So everybody was like, what's so sad about Bambi? I don't know. I ain't seen it yet.
Wow.
So how did you get into software?
Yeah.
My father-in-law actually works with Hexagon, the parent company of WorkNC Dental. And he was kind of getting shifted around because he was doing WorkNC support, which is the full CAM software. Ford, Toyota, those big guys use WorkNC. And WorkNC Dental is basically just a simplified options menu to do just dental stuff. So you can mill out your teeth, your crowns, and all that other things.
So WorkNC is software in a lot of different industries, but you work with the one specific for dental.
Specifically for dental, yes.
And how exactly does this work? So you were trying to explain it to me earlier.
The WorkNC Dental is a simplified overlay. If you looked at the full version of WorkNC, you would feel like you need to take a semester of classes just to use it.
Sure.
WorkNC Dental is so easy. It's very simplified. It's not to insult anybody, it's idiot-proof, as much as a software like that can be when you still have to select certain things. Yeah. It's very automated. So really the whole idea is once you get it set up properly, if I go on somebody, I do an installation on their computer, I give them a half hour or so of education, and I say, look, these are some tricks, these are some best practices. And based off of all that information, you're going to be so much more efficient now because you're actually empowered with this software. So many people, they get something and they just stick with it and they never look at any other options again.
Yes.
And so many people out there are buying machines and they don't know what kind of CAM system is coming with it. Now they have to learn something new. Well, WorkNC Dental is an open CAM software, which means you can use it with any machine. So a lot of people out there can switch from what they have to WorkNC.
Wow.
So it works with the the Alman Gerbox. It works with the IMES. It works with the Rollins.
Yep.
So if you have any of these machines, it's a valid option for you if you want to do something more, if you want something simple.
So why would someone even consider looking at your software when they get a software with their
It all
mill or
depends
their
on what
print?
you want to do.
Question.
I mean, to be honest, anybody can do Crown and Bridge. If you're doing something simple, that's something everybody can do. If you want to do something more advanced, if you want to cut metals, if you want to mill wet, any of that other stuff, WorkNC Dental should be the first place you're looking.
Interesting. That's cool. That's a great question, Elvis, because
Is
I was
it
wondering that myself.
Is it a one-time purchase or is it like a monthly thing? Or how
Well,
does it work?
we have a constant support with the license, and so it is something that you renew every year. But the benefit to that is multiple. So first and foremost, you get access to me.
Yeah.
So if you have any problems, there's people all across the country. They can pick up the phone and they can call me. It goes right to my cell phone. And that is one of the nicest things that you just don't have available. You can't call somebody and just have somebody pick up the phone and say, how can I help?
Yeah. I
And
agree.
so it is a very, very key advantage, especially when you've been frustrated with your current software and you can't get any assistance.
Customer service.
Customer service is one of the biggest things that people keep forgetting about. You know, it pays for itself in the long run.
And I know a couple large companies that all I ever hear is that their customer service is very poor.
Or they went downhill,
Yep.
you know, or XYZ.
Can't get anybody on the phone, can't get any help. And that's very frustrating because usually when your software goes down, you're having a glitch.
And
you need
there
it,
goes
you
your
need
money.
it fixed.
You need to mill.
Big time,
you know,
fast.
What are you going to do?
Yep.
So I can bridge the gap between, you know, the easy stuff and maybe if you have something harder going on. Most of the time, it's something pretty simple. You had antivirus that was messing something up, you know, so you go in there and make sure it's...
Yeah, I've always told a firewall.
Fireball?
Sounds pretty good
Sorry.
right now.
Sorry, Barb.
I wouldn't know.
Didn't mean to
I'm
jangle the
focused.
keys there in front of you. So does your software void any warranty with the product that you're using it on? Is there any conflict there? Or?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I'm not going to say with confidence yes because I don't want to I don't want to put Hexagon's word in front of anything. But I mean, the biggest problem you could run into would be a collision. And WorkNC will stop you if you're going to have a collision unless you did something else wrong or your machine wasn't calibrated properly or XYZ. You got a tool in the wrong spot, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But with any of the other stuff, the software is powerful enough. It can look at itself and say, oh, I'm going to have a crash here. Well, let me just edit this part out. And then it'll go around what would have made a crash in older versions of software. Another benefit with WorkNC when you're on what we call the maintenance with the license is you get access to the latest versions of software. And so we had a lot of customers back in the day that were on just old versions. And the problem with that was so many people were running into glitches that had been solved years ago, but they didn't know because of where they got the software from. And so it ended up being detrimental to their business. We come in, we show them WorkNC, 2018, 2019 is going to launch. Man, it blows them away. Yeah. And I go in there and I say, hey, watch this. Click one button, nests for you, picks a sequence if you've designated the part. It puts the pins on there for you, and you're ready to hit calculate. It's super fast.
I need your card.
I
would like your card.
Do you want the?
That sounds extremely interesting.
Do you want the WorkNC Dental or the voiceover card? Because he's got
one of
each.
I want the WorkNC Dental.
I'm taking the voiceover.
You need the voiceover.
Please do. I'm an enterprising individual. That's why I have two different enterprises.
Thank you.
So does your software, is it specific for each equipment? Like if I had one type of mill, if I had two different types of mill, would I have to have two different versions of your software?
No, not at all. WorkNC Dental is actually designed with multiple machines in mind.
Interesting.
So it actually is very easy to go in and say, if you have a Roland DWX51 and you want to get the new 52, you go ahead and get that. And you can use them together with the same software. So you shouldn't have to buy a whole bunch of different softwares to be able to use your machines that you have in the lab. You can do it all with WorkNC Dental.
Nice.
Gotcha. Awesome.
Cool.
Well, I'm interested. That sounds pretty amazing. I'll definitely give you a shot when I get back. One thing that I love about this podcast is that a lot of the people that we've interviewed, I've actually brought into the lab. We've Aeromax, we interviewed them. I bought 6 of their, what are they called? Purifiers. And, it's been good for me professionally to actually meet people like you and bring them into the laboratory and try different things out. So thank you.
It's always fun to learn. I'm like obsessed with learning. I always like learning new stuff, even if it's not exactly relevant. I just like learning new things.
Yep.
Never stop learning.
Never stop learning.
And
we just talked to this young man who came from the
the
college, and he's a technician in his second year. He's learning, and for 20 years old, that's all he kept saying. I was so impressed, and you're saying the same thing. And I think that goes with our industry. We're all hungry for knowledge, and we want to keep learning and getting better and better and better. And
well, that's why there's 4,000 people here right now.
You know what?
There's no other reason to come unless you want to learn.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have to stay ahead of the competition too. Most people they kind of fail to follow up and update what they have. And I think it's very important, especially with emerging technology, because it can make so many labs' lives better.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, people are they're sticking with the 7 most expensive words in business, which is, that's the way we've always done it.
And that is well said. You're right. Because we
hate
that on
change.
A t-shirt? Yeah. It's the way we've always done it. Make teeth great again. Let's do it. It's my new slogan on my hat.
Yeah. You got the hat.
Yeah, baby. I got the hat.
Well, I appreciate it, Jonathan.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
And I love your voice.
Oh, thank you.
It's awesome.
Can you say voices from the bench in your voice-over voice?
Say what?
Can you do it in your professional voice? Whatever you give to National Geographic. Can I get it for free right now?
Voices from the Bench with Elvis Dahl.
Nice. And Barbara
Wojin.
Thank you.
I love it. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
Greetings.
Greetings,
We are
Elvis.
wrapping up Saturday, LMT Lab Day here in Chicago. I have with us a very big supporter of the show,
Yes.
Carrie Warner. Did
Yes,
I get
sir.
it?
Yes, you did.
We're done. No, I'm just kidding. CDT, and we have
Carinthia Warner.
Carinthia Warner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a long
It's
day.
a long
You guys are
weekend.
with Birch Dental Laboratory,
We are.
Eugene, Oregon.
Eugene, Oregon.
So what do you do there?
I am the model technician, and I'm training into ceramics.
Good for you. How long have you been doing it?
A long time. Officially, probably 5 years. But I grew up in the lab, so much longer than that, truly.
So how did you... Wait a minute. You guys have the same last name. Are we talking mother-daughter?
Yes, sir.
Why did you not tell me this? I didn't even make the connection. Of course you grew up in the lab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is she the one that did the program?
Yes, she
Yes.
is.
Wow. So let's talk about this. Carrie, you are the executive director of the Oregon State Dental Laboratory Association.
Yes.
That's a big job.
It is a big job.
So what exactly does that job do?
What the association does, essentially, we manage membership. We do a membership drive. We communicate with our members what's happening in the industry, and we put out a publication 4 times a year.
Yep.
And we also host a conference in the fall every year that provides 2 days of education, hands-on education, exhibit hall to not only our members, but anyone in the region or in the nation, really, that would like to come and and get some great education. And that has been an event that has kind of grown in the last couple of years, which is really, really, really wonderful.
How many attendees do you usually see at that?
Last year we had over 150 attendees.
That's a good-sized group.
Which is not bad for a small state association.
Absolutely.
And we had 2 all-day
hands-on
courses, and then 2 lecture halls all day Friday and Saturday.
Are you the one that puts together all this content, or does the board
I do it.
You do it all.
I do it. So I contact the speakers, I contact the companies that would come out and exhibit. I arrange the venue. I do all of the promotion and the advertising for it. I do all the online registration, everything.
You do all this in just a couple hours, right, on a Sunday?
Yeah.
So do you seek out vendors here at Lab Day?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I've never been to Chicago, so
This is your first time?
My first time.
Nice.
So my purpose really was to see how it's laid out, to see who is here, to see if there are companies here that I have never heard of, and to meet some new people and to invite them to Oregon to see if they would maybe consider Oregon as a place to exhibit. And interestingly, I know a lot of people that come. They're already supporters, which is fun because then I get to visit and
thank them.
Yeah.
Do you have any new vendors interested in making Oregon even a better and bigger thing?
I do. And the thing about having a conference that is put on by a state association is that the laboratories in that area might only go to that conference for all of their educational needs, for all of their shopping, everything.
Sure.
And that's it. And unless the big companies come to us, our people really never have a chance to actually personally meet them.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's a real purpose that we serve as a small state association, that we sort of open up our little local market. There are companies that love coming out because it's the only time they get to visit with their Oregon people.
Yeah.
So I think that there's real value there.
How long have you been doing this?
I started this job 2 years ago.
2 years ago, because you were president? Did I hear that right?
I was. I was on the board. I joined the board, and the year I was to become the president-elect, our executive director resigned. And we were kind of in a bad place financially. So we kind of came together as a board, and I said, okay, if I were to step off the board and take over this job, we can recover. Let me do it as a volunteer, save us some money, and we can just sort of work hard and recover. And then the person who was president ahead of me served my term. So he served was Mark Hitty from Oak Valley Dental Arts, served 2 terms as president so that I could sort of, and everyone else kind of stay in their
Now
in
you're
their
still
spot.
doing it, though.
Yeah, and so now I'm actually contracted.
Nice.
Yeah, so we recovered financially, and I now have a contract. I'm an independent contractor to do this for them.
How many hours do you think you put into doing this?
I want to say during the year, I'm probably putting in about 10 hours a week.
Yeah.
It's
a good amount of time, though.
Yeah, a little this, and the cool thing is I run it out of my lab. That's in the back office. The phone rings. It rings my lab phone, and so I'm very available to you can talk to me at any time. And then I'll put something in the oven to fire, and I'll go email some OADL, sort of dovetail it in throughout the day. But then when we get closer to the conference time, it gets kind of busy.
I can imagine.
But you do it, because it's you realize there's a mission. It's important. It's important to people, and I get a lot out of it. Actually,
I'm sure you do.
It's very gratifying.
I'm sure when you pull off that event, I'm sure it's the greatest feeling in the world.
It is, and when people come out and they say it was so awesome and we learned so much, and we have big name people coming out now that we've never had before, and so it's a growing event.
That's great.
Which is very cool.
What about you? Are you going to be on the board here soon?
No, I'm not on the board, but I do a lot of the graphic design for OADL, so that's how I get to be a part of it and participate in.
How did you learn graphic design? Because you showed me your latest newsletter last night. It's some nice stuff.
So I'm a self-taught graphic artist. I picked up doing graphic design in high school because I was a part of a fan community for a Korean pop group. So I did a lot of design for charity events that we would do, or fan publications, and that's how I learned that.
Sure.
So
that's great.
So we use her talents, which is wonderful. And then also, it's like external hard drive. She knows everything, If I forget it, I know someone's got it. And when we go to the conference, we go as a team, and we work that conference as a team.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful, because there are a lot of little details, and it's so nice to have someone kind of being the wing person for the event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think executive directors of any organization are the unsung heroes.
Yeah.
And not too often, and maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't seem like they're also lab owners and technicians.
Yeah, I think that's a real unusual. It's an unusual thing.
That's huge
for a lab owner to also manage an association and also put on an event. So learning how to put on an event was quite a curve for me.
I wouldn't know how to do it.
I called people, I'm like, how do you do it? And I learned. I made mistakes and I learned from them. But it is all about being organized. But the thing I think that really propels it is that I come at it from the perspective of an attendee. I come at it from the perspective of a lab owner. I'm going to go to this, and what is my takeaway? So I start there.
Makes a lot of sense.
And work backwards. And I think it's really helped having that perspective,
Well, I think a lot of them are, what can I do to get the most people to come? And that's not always going to give you the best content. It's just going to, whatever we can draw people in. Good content will draw them in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When you have some really great education lined up, then your attendees come. And the companies that come to exhibit benefit from the fact that you were really thoughtful about what kind of education you were providing. And so I tried it the other way, and I don't think it worked quite as well, is to allow the exhibitors to bring in their own educators. I think there's some value there because, of course, we want to be educated how to use whatever the product or whatever the machine.
Sure.
But at the same time, that feels very market-driven. So I think there's something to be said for going back to the place of what is the knowledge you need versus what are they trying to sell you.
No.
What is the knowledge that you need in order to be the best technician?
I have mentioned that many times. When you see someone on stage and they are trying to sell you something, you know it, and it's terrible.
Well, you have to be pragmatic. You know, you come in knowing that this is what you're going to get. You come in knowing, and if you like to use a particular product, and I as a technician have particular products that I like better, I will go to that company to see what else they have, and that's just that's fine. I mean, it's inevitable. It's part of our industry.
Oh yeah.
But it's becoming more and more so, and I'm really, first time in Chicago, it is an eye-opening experience to see, and from the perspective of an event planner, to see how much marketing is happening right here.
It's insane.
And we are the consumers of that marketing. So, I think that just going back to that place of what is the knowledge you need, what is the education that you're after, and just sort of have a little bit of a blind eye to the marketing to help you become a better technician, maybe is a good thing. To not be so overwhelmed by it, or buy into it so quickly, and to be really thoughtful about that. But as far as the Oregon Association goes, I think we're on a really good track.
You sound very passionate about it.
I am, because it serves the industry that I'm in. This is my career.
Yeah.
This is my career. This is my field that I'm servicing. So, if I were an event planner, it wouldn't matter.
No, it'd all be about the dollar.
It could be anything. I could be, because it's important to me. We are really on a great track, and we're pursuing legislation.
That's
next year,
Yeah.
Following the lead of Washington.
Are you leading that too?
I might be.
That's a big job. We've had some other states on the podcast talk about that.
It's a lot.
Government confuses me, and I couldn't imagine having to take it on.
I kind of like politics.
The weight would kill me.
Yeah, I think I think the process is a little daunting, but we have a great resource in Washington, and that they have been working on this now for 3 years, and they know what works. And so maybe we could shortcut a little bit, learning from how they've gone through it, and also, just sort of allowing their passion to sort of put the wind beneath our wings.
There you go. Yeah.
And I think that it would be wonderful. Just for our industry demographic in Washington and Oregon as neighboring states, if we were to have similar legislation in place, it'd be really, really good. So we'll see. If anything, I will be administrative, and I'll help in setting up the meetings and making sure that people have what they need and that they stay on topic, and so on. But I am passionate about it, so I'll be involved.
Well, and once you start getting farther into that, have you or whoever else is in the battle back on this podcast to talk about it, because I think it's important that everybody hears it.
Yeah.
This is so important that it happens. And I like your point about neighboring states. I'm afraid that we're going to get regulated in every state, but every state will be so completely different. People are going to go to the state that's going to benefit them the most and leave out the other states.
It'll be
some sort of unity within all of it.
It'll be a little bit of a patchwork quilt. It'll be different for the dentists and when they're working with laboratories that have different criteria. Texas has particular criteria. Washington will have different criteria. And because we're just sort of globalizing, everyone is working with everyone, no matter where they are on the planet. It's helpful if we don't have to jump through so many hoops.
Absolutely.
And so I think that it would be smart to try and keep everything very similar, state to state.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just for the sake of the industry and how we go through process. So, I think about that, and I think that Washington has done a great job.
Yeah, we had them on one time.
Yeah, they've done a great job, and shout out to Matt Chapman for his leadership, because I met with him, and we knew that we could work together on this. It would just be really, really fun, and so I'm going up to Washington next month to meet with him.
Nice.
And we're going to start setting things into place to see how we can move forward.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
You are fighting the good fight.
I am. I'm kind of.
And we appreciate you doing it, because, I think we're going to have a domino effect, and it's going to start with you guys here, 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 and then it's just going to move all over the U.S., hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if we don't do it, someone else who doesn't understand our industry will, and then we will be in a really difficult position. So, I mean, it is smart, as we know, to be whatever it is we're doing, whatever businesses we're running, whatever organizations we're supporting, to be proactive.
Absolutely.
And so I think that this is the proactive approach to what we know is coming down the pipeline.
Yeah. We're either in it now or we're reacting to it later.
Yeah, because what with now printing and milling, FDA, we know, will come to us.
Oh, yeah.
And they will say, you have to meet this criteria. And if we have regulation in place, we can manage that differently. When it finally arrives, we will be managing that differently.
Sure.
And I think that would be a great place to be.
How big is your lab? You
Two
two?
of us, yeah.
And a driver.
And a driver. That's great.
So we're niche. We're little.
Yeah? Crown and Bridge only?
Crown and Bridge only.
Mostly PFMs, or what do you guys have, a mill?
We outsource all of our milling.
Yeah, scanner?
No, we outsource that too.
Yeah.
That would be the next thing. But we do a lot of cosmetic work.
Sure, good.
A lot of sort of, I think in our town, people are recognizing that we're the go-to cosmetic lab, which is cool.
Good place to be.
Yeah. I like it when
be.
the patients come in. I had a girl come in the other day, and she brought me flowers,
Oh, yeah.
So
a patient?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That is great to be able to have that closeness.
I almost request to see the patients. It's
like almost every case?
Yeah, I can't. If I'm doing cosmetic work, I need to see them.
Do they come to you?
Yeah, they come to me.
That's great.
Yeah.
When are you going to get your CDT? Going to work on it?
Yeah, starting to work on it. So
good.
It should probably take me a while, though. So
she just got a great grant through the foundation.
Nice.
The John Ness Memorial Grant.
Yeah.
To people in the country. So she's got some education coming up.
Good.
And in California, it'll be great.
Yeah,
You'll come
I'm
back
really looking forward to it.
You have a wonderful role model as a mother.
I do.
And you got a lot to live up to.
Yeah.
Well, I need to retire, so.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
I thank you for all your support, Carrie.
Oh,
thank
absolutely.
Thank you so much. A lot of people didn't know, but back in our early days of this podcast, you put a whole page of us in the Oregon newsletter.
Yes.
That was huge.
Well, I was happy to do it, because
huge.
Here's what I think about what you're doing in terms of how this is helping our industry. What we are as laboratory technicians is a little disconnected. We sit down, our eyes are busy, our hands are busy, and we feel like we're working, and nobody cares, right? Well, the doctor might care, the patient might care, but still, the magic of the human voice brings that connection.
Our main goal is to get everyone working together to strengthen our industry.
Yeah.
Everyone in this room is competition, but it's going to be better if we do it all together.
Yeah.
If we fight for the regulation, if we fight for good product, we fight for not lowering prices, all that togetherness will just make us stronger in the long run.
Yeah.
I believe in it. I think that there's a real sense of community now in the industry that wasn't there 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I started in the 80s, so I've been doing it for a long time. But I feel more connected now to my profession than I have in the past. But the podcast, because it's sound, It's not something that I read. It's not, well, you have social media, but being able to listen to another person talk makes it very real.
And hopefully we're not too boring.
No, you guys are great.
Yeah.
You guys are great.
Yeah. We wanted to put out a media where you can still do what you need to do and still tune in. Driving, exercising, working on the bench, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want you to stop and watch anything, There's enough people in this industry that are willing to share and willing to spread the greatness of it.
Yeah.
This podcast has been one of the most rewarding things we've ever done, also one of the easiest things.
Yeah. I think it's the ideal medium for, the average dental technician who's at the bench, because you don't want to have to look at something or sit and read something.
I don't allow our technicians to watch YouTube at work.
Yeah.
And if they have their earphones in, I'm all like, are you listening to voices? They're like, yeah. That's all I want to hear.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you so much.
Thank you,
it was
Elvis.
great to meet you.
It was great
nice
to meet you.
Great
Thank
to
you
meet you.
so much. I hope to talk to you guys again.
We want you to come to Oregon.
I would love to come to Oregon.
It's an official invite. Come to Oregon.
I hear beautiful things about Oregon.
It is a beautiful state. Our event, our conference this year is in September. So
keep me up to date. When you start
beautiful.
getting speakers lined up and things like that, let us know. We will be happy to spread the word on things
that would
like
be
this.
fabulous. Yeah.
Whatever we can do to help.
Yeah, that would be fabulous.
Especially state associations. I truly believe in them.
Yeah.
There's so little of them, and they're all dying.
There are fewer of them, and a lot of it is really, truly due to the fact that it does take some time.
Yeah.
And it's hard when you're a technician or a lab owner to break away from that and give up that time.
It is. And 10 hours a week is a lot of time.
It is a lot of time. But I'm really proud of what we've done.
You
should
be.
There's
you
that.
You should be. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, for the third time, bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
A big thanks to Jimmy, Jonathan, Carrie, and Carinthia. We cannot thank you and everybody else that took the time to sit down with us at that huge event. It was so much fun on Lab Day Chicago. I think it went really well, especially for being our first live recording, and we can't wait till Lab Day East. When is that, Elvis?
October.
It's in October. So we'll be in Lab Day East in October. If you want to learn more about any of our guests from the podcast, head over to voicesfromthebench.com to learn more about them and their companies. And incidentally, this is the last week for you to use the code VOICES at Preet.com. Please, when you order, let them know that you heard it from here. We really, really appreciate our sponsors and can't thank them enough. And anyone that uses the code will save 5% on your order. And they will also, I love, how I feel about the foundation. They will donate 1% of the foundation to dental technology. So show your support by supporting a great company, Preet, and the foundation, and save some money while you're at it. Thanks again, Preet. You guys are amazing. Thank you for sponsoring us, and thank you for giving back. Even with LMT Chicago behind us, we still have lots of content from the DLAT meeting and the FDLA meeting. Stay tuned for all the amazing people we had the pleasure of interviewing. And you know what's best is that Elvis and I, we put on our headphones and we actually get eye-to-eye contact with these people, and they are so awesome, sharing their stories about their laboratories and how they got into the industry. So stay tuned because we've got a lot of great content.
All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. Don't say Jummy. I wrote Jummy on your part.
Jimmy?
Yeah.